The anime kicks off with a young girl sharing her thoughts. She explains that someone advised her to discover more about humans. As she gracefully soared through the sky, utilizing her mysterious ability, she pondered deeply about her capability to greet others in the right manner. This reflection on her uncertainty stirred up anxiety within her, clouding her thoughts as she traveled the vast expanse above. Yet, amidst these feelings, she senses the beginning of something wonderful. One evening, a young boy named Tokumitsu finished his job and said goodbye to his boss. Then he began his journey home. Along the way, he grumbled about having to work an extra shift and how tired it made him feel. On his way back to his apartment, Tokumitsu spotted a familiar cat and greeted it warmly. This simple interaction triggered a memory from his childhood when he discovered a stray kitten in front of his house. Despite his fondness for the kitten, his parents refused to let him keep it, so a kindly neighbor who was a cat lover took her in instead. Reflecting on this memory, Tokumitsu couldn't help but feel a twinge of sadness. Although he could have a cat now, he believed it was too late to fulfill that childhood dream. It had been a whole month since Tokumitsu began high school and embarked on the adventure of living alone. Standing alone in his room, he found himself lost in contemplation about how he was gradually growing accustomed to solitude. Suddenly, without warning, a sneeze erupted from him, signaling that he had caught a cold. Feeling exhausted, he slumped onto his bed. His mind wandered as he drifted off to sleep, yearning for company beyond his own thoughts. Just then, a feather drifted in through his open balcony, gently dancing in the air before settling on the floor. The next morning, Tokumitsu was roused from his sleep by the loud sound of his phone alarm. As he groggily reached for his phone, he realized he must have caught a cold because he felt awful. With a heavy feeling, he dragged himself out of bed and shuffled to the kitchen. Opening the fridge, he grabbed a carton of milk and took a few sips, hoping it would help soothe his scratchy throat. Suddenly, a jolt of realization hit him. He had forgotten to close the balcony doors the night before going to bed. Tokumitsu breathed a sigh of relief, feeling grateful that no one had sneaked in unnoticed. Afterward, he walked over to the balcony, and to his complete surprise, he found a girl sleeping there peacefully. He was so shocked that he accidentally spilled the cup of milk he was holding onto her. The girl woke up and greeted him with a pleasant, "Good morning." As the girl needed to use his bathroom to clean her clothes from the spilled milk, Tokumitsu sat down, pondering every possible scenario about the situation. He felt relieved, at least, that she wasn't a corpse. In his mind, he went through various thoughts and feelings, trying to make sense of the unexpected turn of events. He pondered over whether she might be a thief sneaking in, or perhaps a cosplayer lost from a convention, or even a runaway girl seeking refuge. His mind was filled with questions. Why was he letting a stranger use his bath? Was he being pranked? Feeling suspicious, Tokumitsu quickly rushed to draw the curtains, worried that there might be hidden cameras around. His heart pounded with embarrassment when he saw the unexpected visitor, barely wrapped in a towel, asking for some clothes to wear while waiting for her dress to dry. Introduced herself as Towa, sharing her name. In return, Tokumitsu introduced himself as Tokumitsu Shintaro, extending the courtesy. He said sorry for splashing her earlier and for not having a good outfit for her. Tawa also apologized for crashing on his balcony because she had nowhere else to go. Tawa felt deeply thankful as Tokumitsu introduced himself. She was amazed to encounter someone as kind-hearted as him. Observing her reaction, Tokumitsu couldn't help but feel pleased. He thought she seemed like a nice girl who was very prim and proper. Tawa made mention that she would like to greet Tokumitsu's family, but he told her they were not with him and was leaving alone. Tokumitsu was taken aback when Tawa mentioned he lived in a mansion all alone, surrounded by numerous windows. However, he soon understood she was referring to the entire apartment building. Tokumitsu clarified that the room they were in was the only one he owned. To his surprise, Tawa mistakenly thought it was a storage room. This led to a moment of confusion, as Tokumitsu explained that it was actually his living space, not just for storing things. Tokumitsu didn't deny it because, in reality, the place was quite messy and could easily be mistaken for storage. Towa felt a strong desire to show her appreciation to Tokumitsu, so she approached him closely and offered to help with anything he needed. Despite her offer, he politely declined. Undeterred, Tawa looked through his nearly empty fridge, finding no ingredients to cook with. Instead, she decided to take on the task of cleaning. All the while, she was determined to make herself useful in any way she could to repay Tokumitsu's kindness. Tokumitsu adamantly opposed every idea presented until Tawa noticed two cats engaged in a scuffle on the balcony. Acting swiftly, she intervened, successfully separating them. She then embarked on a heartfelt lecture about the significance of resolving conflicts peacefully. Regrettably, her noble efforts ended with her sustaining an injury to her hand during the intervention. Tokumitsu sat down with Towa, expressing concern about her running away from home. He inquired about where she was from. However, he found it hard to believe her explanation when she claimed to hail from heaven, the divine dwelling of God. Despite her insistence, he remained skeptical. Nevertheless, Tawa introduced herself formally as an angel named Tawa. Tokumitsu started to realize she was serious when she narrated how she had came to Earth the previous night on God's orders to study humans on behalf of all angel kind. As she rattles on about it, Tokumitsu remained unconvinced, with the nagging feeling that Tawa wasn't just your average runaway, but possibly someone more dangerous. Concerned, he made the choice to keep his distance from her. After all, he reasoned, it's not every day you encounter someone who sleeps on your balcony. Such behavior seemed far from normal to him. Towa was just about to ask Tokumitsu if she could stay with him for a bit longer when suddenly his alarm went off again, indicating his time for work. He hurriedly returned her clothes, which were now dry, and then they parted ways, each going in a different direction. Tokumitsu had to leave work early because he had a fever, so he couldn't stay long. As he made his way home, he couldn't stop thinking about Towa. He hoped she was already home safe. But then he saw Tawa walking with a man. He called out to her and asked if the man was her parents. Tawa said no, explaining that the man wanted to take her to a hotel, which shocked Tokumitsu. He hurriedly pulled her away from the man and started walking home, scolding her along the way. However, he only managed to take a few steps before collapsing on the street. When Tokumitsu woke up again, he was already home on his bed, with Toma beside him. Toma was in tears seeing Tokumitsu awake and feeling better. She went ahead to feed him the porridge she had managed to make, even though there were no ingredients in the house. After tasting the food cooked by someone else after a long while, Tokumitsu felt a warm sensation inside. He thought deeply and came to the decision that Tawa should accompany him, and she felt joyful about it. Curious about the effort it took to carry him home, Tokumitsu inquired. Towa casually brushed it off, mentioning her wings as the means, but this time she actually demonstrated, causing him to lose consciousness once more from shock. The following morning, Tokumitsu woke up feeling a sense of disbelief about the previous night's events. However, as he rubbed his eyes and looked around, the reality of the situation became undeniable. There lay Towa, the angelic presence from the night before, peacefully sleeping beside him, her wings still gently visible, although now small in size compared to the previous day. The two went out to eat, and Tawa was curious about a few things. When Tokumitsu remembered his allowance and savings won't be enough if they continued buying food, he decided they should go and buy groceries and a few other things Tawa might be needing. As they shopped, Tawa's curiosity seemed to know no bounds. She was intrigued by almost everything they came across. After they had gathered all the items they needed, including a few new clothes for Tawa, especially after they garnered some stares due to her princess dress, they began their journey home together. Tawa eagerly offered to unpack the bags, taking her time to carefully arrange their belongings. Among the items, she discovered a mug she had admired at the mall. It featured charming drawings of two cats, reminiscent of the ones she had seen fighting on the balcony earlier. The sight of it brought a wide smile to her face, filling her with happiness and fond memories. The two were cramped on Tokumitsu's small bed at night, and he realized he should have bought a bed first. When Tawa first arrived on Earth, she was mesmerized by the abundance of beautiful lights twinkling all around her. The sight of the train, which she had heard so much about, added to her excitement. As time passed, she found herself descending to a high place, bustling with even more dazzling lights. The bustling streets added to his excitement. Standing there, she pondered how she would connect with the humans. Recalling the good kid's guide to life on Earth, she remembered that when an angel descends, they are supposed to either stay elevated above humans, radiate a powerful glow, and introduce themselves in a grand manner, stretch their wings to their fullest extent, displaying them proudly. Or they could hide their wings and blend in with the humans. She couldn't help but wonder which approach would be best. Tawa chose the latter with determination to establish relations with humans, so she would like to know them first, but everyone seems busy and she couldn't approach them. Tawa had been wandering around, observing everyone busily going about their day. Feeling a bit overwhelmed, she sought out a quieter spot. After meandering for a while, she found herself alone. Considering returning to her previous location, she noticed what appeared to be a grand mansion, but was actually an apartment building. Intrigued, she decided to explore it, hoping to find a quiet corner to rest. Little did she know, this decision would lead her to Tokumitsu's place, where she would end up staying. Tokumitsu attentively listened to Tawa's recounting of her day's adventures as she busily prepared the final dishes for their evening meal, having gone shopping earlier that day. Once everything was ready, they settled down to eat together. Tokumitsu savored each bite, finding every dish delicious, and he didn't hesitate to shower Tawa with compliments for her impressive culinary skills. He asked where she learned to cook, and was awed to discover that it was from The Good Kid's Guide to Life on Earth, because he realized it has almost everything, including warning about what not to do on Earth as an angel. Happy about the home-cooked food, Tokumitsu said his goodbyes to his previous life of eating convenience store meals and breads every day, and welcoming food made by somebody at home that tastes so good. Tokumitsu found himself viewing Tawa as not just kind and a great cook, but also as a super nice angel. As he reflected on her qualities, he couldn't help but wonder if things were perhaps going a bit too smoothly for him. He pondered over this thought, contemplating the possibility that maybe he was getting off too lightly. Feeling grateful for Tokumitsu's hospitality, Tawa declined his offer to do something for her in return, stating that his kindness in letting her stay with him was already more than enough. However, she mentioned that she might have a request for him after dinner, indicating that she would like to ask him something later on. After they finished dinner, Tokumitsu kindly explained to Tawa how to use the bathroom. Tawa, feeling grateful, decided to take her bath. However, this situation made Tokumitsu uneasy because he wasn't used to having a girl bathe at his place. To distract himself, he turned on the TV, but his thoughts kept wandering. Eventually, he resorted to studying for an upcoming English quiz. After Tawa used the bath, Tokumitsu eased himself into the warm water of the tub, letting it soothe his tired muscles as he bathed. As he relaxed, memories flooded his mind, reminding him of the days when he lived alone and didn't have to worry about anyone else being on the other side of the bathroom door. He reflected on the solitude he once enjoyed, a time when he could come and go as he pleased, without considering anyone else's presence. As night fell, Tokumitsu wished he had prepared another bed beforehand, as he and Tawa had to squeeze onto his small bed. Tokumitsu found it difficult to sleep, feeling uncomfortable with his privacy invaded. Meanwhile, Tawa had already drifted off into slumber, unaware of Tokumitsu's restlessness. The following morning, which happened to be a Monday, Tokumitsu woke up feeling groggy due to his sleepless night. He stumbled to the bathroom, only to find Tawa using it. On the third day of Tokumitsu's journey with his newfound angelic companion, Tawa once again took the initiative to prepare a generous spread of meals for them. As they sat down to eat, Tokumitsu couldn't help but marvel at Tawa's culinary skills, and they both delighted in the delicious food before them. Amidst their meal, they engaged in pleasant conversation, exchanging thoughts and stories, deepening their bond as they shared this simple yet meaningful moment together. When the time came for Tokumitsu to head to school, Tawa expressed her desire to accompany him. However, Tokumitsu explained that it wasn't feasible for her to come along. Instead, he suggested she find something to do and enjoy some time to herself. Before leaving, he made sure she had some money and then departed for school. As Tokumitsu made his way to school, he couldn't shake the guilt of leaving Tawa behind, even though he knew he couldn't bring her along. Feeling both sleepy and uncomfortably full, he started to feel queasy. Suddenly, he was playfully bumped by his school friend Shuichi, which earned Shuichi a scolding from Tsutsumi, another friend of theirs. Despite this, the three of them continued on to school together, chatting along the way. She pondered what Tokumitsu might have for lunch, and couldn't shake the image of him being hungry. Determined to remedy this, she resolved to bring him a meal at school. As Tokumitsu and his friends continued having their lunch break at school, Tsutsumi observed Takumitsu's usual lunch of bread and kindly suggested that she could start cooking for him as well, alongside preparing her own lunch. However, Takumitsu politely declined her offer, thinking about how Tawa currently takes care of his meals. Shuichi and Tsutsumi got into a heated argument when Shuichi requested Tsutsumi to cook for him as well. Tokumitsu found their squabble amusing and chuckled, but his amusement was interrupted when he noticed Tawa flying outside. Acting swiftly, he rushed to the window and blocked it, urging Tawa to meet him on the rooftop, where they could talk. Tokumitsu hurriedly ascended the stairs to the rooftop, eager to rendezvous with Tawa. Upon arrival, he wasted no time in scolding her for recklessly flying to his school, neglecting the risk of being discovered. Tawa, feeling remorseful, quickly apologized and expressed a desire to depart after delivering the lunch she had prepared for him. However, before she could take her leave, Tokumitsu invited her to stay, and they proceeded to enjoy the meal together. Once again, Tokumitsu commended her culinary skills, particularly delighted by a dish he had previously mentioned liking in the lunchbox. In response, Tawa enthusiastically promised Tokumitsu that she would prepare an even wider array of delicious treats for him in the days to come.